Hey, it's me, Samby. It's the holidays, which means you're probably watching this to avoid your family. Thanksgiving can be stressful, but what helps me get through it is really thinking about what I'm thankful for. So I had our staff put together some of our pieces that fill me with gratitude. Feel free to go back to arguing with all of your uncles, but when you need a break, consider donating to these great causes.
I think watching The Little Mermaid was a big one for me. The three things I wanted to be when I was a kid was a marine biologist, a musical theater singer, or an animator.
I kind of grew up sort of feral in the woods and then got into animation because it was the easiest way to tell stories where I could be all sorts of different characters.
I always wanted to be a cartoonist, starting 6th grade or something.
I remember getting the phone call from DreamWorks saying that I got the job, and I actually had to pull over somewhere so I could jump around for a little bit.
I think Me Too is waiting to happen in every industry if you look around.
After the Harvey Weinstein thing happened, we had already been talking about starting a group.
We started a private Facebook group.
Literally the first post was a huge one. It was this one.
I was around 22 when it first happened and desperately trying to break into the animation industry. He followed me on LinkedIn and through email and everything. He was fine, but meeting him in person, it escalated.
I've known Shane for 10 years. This was such a shock to me. Oh my God, my best friend went through this, and I didn't find out until a post was made on the Facebook group.
Something came over my body. My hands just started typing frantically, and I remember shaking and just typing, and it wasn't thought out. It was just years of just pent up feelings, People knew exactly who I was talking about, and I didn't need to say who it was.
Several women in the comments came out and said, "I'm pretty sure I know who this is. This has happened to me too."
It was oh, it's Chris Savino.
Big news that broke out in the animation community this week is that the Loud House creator, Chris Savino,
has been accused of sexual harassment. This has actually been going on for decades on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon.
From unwanted sexual advances
and threats to blacklist women who refuse to be in relationships with him.
I guess that's why they say you should never meet your heroes.
It becomes apparent that there are 10 people, 15 people. He had worked everywhere and he had made this hit show.
We didn't know if he was going to be removed. Then Cartoon Brew put out an article and that forced Nickelodeon's hand and he was fired.
There was this huge anxiety that he was just going to get hired somewhere else.
People do terrible things and then they just get to keep working.
And the statute of limitations for sexual harassment in California is so small, we could not even legally do anything with that.
We needed people to know, if you hire this guy, you're gonna be held responsible when he harasses somebody, scares somebody, corners somebody. But we were just these nerdy cartoonist girls, what could we do?
We realized that this had been behavior that had gone on at 3 different major studios. That's what made us think of getting the guild involved.
Somebody went through the union constitution.
There was no language about sexual harassment, but a couple people had discovered the language around disloyalty.
He's betrayed the union by making people feel unsafe in the union.
So we had to draft an affidavit, get it notarized, all the signatures. So we met up at a UPS store.
I'm just really surprised so many people showed up.
It was hilarious. Imagine you're a notary, you're almost gonna close and suddenly there's 100 people in Steven Universe shirts at your door.
And they actually kicked us out.
So we went out to the Chuck E. Cheese parking lot. Yeah, animation is classy.
We had to call a mobile notary. She mentioned that she had an experience of her own at a law firm she had worked at before, and she was really on board to help us.
We rolled into the union building and we're we want to charge him with misconduct.
Oh, did I mention there were 93 people that signed the charges? He wanted them dropped. They weren't going to be dropped.
I was really, really scared when I learned there was going to be a trial within the guild.
We were the last people to enter the room.
We all wore black, we all had little roses.
40 to 50 people were sitting behind us in solidarity.
There was this sense of power.
There were 11 witnesses who spoke.
Their statements were almost identical. This person had an MO.
He's like the spider who lures people to his web and they get tangled in it.
I was just watching him act sympathetic and like act like he was listening and like he understood fucking anything. Sorry, can I swear? Yeah.
Fucker. Sorry.
We found out like the day of that he was going to give a statement at the end. When that time came, we stood up and turned away from him. And even though we hadn't planned the rest of it, everyone else in the room actually turned away from him too.
His statement was a piece of shit. I didn't believe any of it.
If anyone's a predator out there, you shouldn't say it wasn't my intention, because whether it was your intention or not, 15 women felt, harassed by you.
He's suspended for a year, and they sent a letter out to the studios that they had found Chris Savino guilty of disloyalty.
The letter, when it comes down to it, is a public shaming. And the letter is, I think, the strongest thing we could have done.
I was able to tell him, I wish I had never met you. And that was something I never thought I was going to be able to do. It really felt like that trial was me with my women army, and there's like this sword that's stuck in the ground, and I'm like trying to lift it and I can't, and then a bunch of hands coming on the hilt helping me wield that sword and take down the web.
Yeah, you mess with someone's friends and they'll fuck you up, you know?
ICE currently holds about 40,000 people in detention centers. That's like detaining the entire population of Beverly Hills. And unlike the population of Beverly Hills, these people don't deserve this treatment. Conditions inside the centers are bad enough, but there's another problem. They are a bitch to get to. Fortunately, I'm just enough of a bitch to go. Many ICE detention centers are sequestered from civilization, seemingly to isolate detainees from the known world, to break their spirits and make them sign away their right to fight deportation. You know, the real American way. 150 miles away from Atlanta, you'll find the largest one in the country, Stewart Detention Center, which houses around 1,800 detainees. It's in Lumpkin, Georgia, where there's a gun shop, a library, and a single immigration lawyer.
Hi.
Are you the only lawyer for 1,800 people?
No.
Oh, thank God.
There's
Okay.
actually some nonprofit attorneys living in my backyard in a double wide trailer.
Detainees desperately need representation if they want any chance of being released. But about a third of them are held more than 100 miles from the nearest legal aid. How many lawyers do you see representing detainees?
Yesterday, there were 137 cases on the docket, and I was the only attorney here physically.
Marty, you're doing some good work.
Thank you.
This is like the first time in my life I'm stumped for a lawyer joke. Oh, I got one. Okay. What do you call 100 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean?
What?
A shame, because their services are critically needed in Lumpkin. But a lawyer isn't all you need. This is Pedro Guzman. He was brought to the U.S. as a kid, but in 2009 was scooped up by ICE and spent 19 months at Stewart until his deportation order was canceled. How was your case different?
My wife was, pretty much at every hearing I was in.
If you don't have someone working on the outside in town, what are your chances of getting out?
Probably zero.
Pedro's wife made countless 8-hour drives to Lumpkin, but when she got there, she faced a different problem.
There are no facilities like hotels in the town of Lumpkin.
There is El Refugio, a hospitality house that provides a free place to stay for families and visiting lawyers, but it's always full.
It's a very tiny house, as you can see. 3 bedrooms. We had 9 beds, 1 bathroom.
9 beds here. There's 1,800 beds over there. That ratio seems racist to me. This town needs more lawyers. These detainees need their families, and there's no more room at the inn. Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I just had a Christmas-gasm. Maybe I can fix this on Lumpkin or Leave It. I'll tell you what we need. We need a house so that El Refugio can accommodate more lawyers and more family members, but we don't need anything fancy. I'd love it if there were French doors.
There aren't a lot of options available.
Really high ceilings.
There's only really one house.
A Polynesian theme for the grotto.
This is basically your only option.
Sold. Do you take this?
Sure.
Oh, this is a chip card. Is this a chip reader?
It is,
just
yeah.
Insert it here?
You do, yeah, just at the bottom there.
Okay.
Make sure it clicks. Yep.
Okay, it's not reading it. we bought a house for El Refugio. Seriously, we bought it for them. They needed it. It was a bit of a fixer-upper, so we got busy with the renovations. And then it was time for the big reveal. Ta-da! Oh my God, get out of there. What are you get? Go on. Ta-da. Welcome to your new house.
I did a little stock modeling in the early aughts.
There's a fully redone kitchen to feed all those pro bono lawyers, a dining room that seats 20 for fueling up so they can fight our draconian immigration policies, 19 beds for, damn it, sandwich guy! And a beautiful living space to help them forget the Death Star is a mile away. What do you think, guys? Are you gonna lumpkin or leave it?
Well, we're gonna lumpkin.
Oh yeah, I was going for something. Okay, so you're gonna take it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, cheers. It's already up and running. Look, we weren't able to fix our Kafka-esque immigration system, but hopefully we did make one little tiny part of it slightly more bearable.
When it comes to the southern border, Fox News has done their best to calm our fears.
Crisis at our southern border.
A lion that's at our doorstep.
The dangerous territory is all of Mexico.
P.S. Tune into Fox's delightful new travel show, Don't Go There with Lou Dobbs. So when I was assigned to visit the border, I wanted to be prepared. I was heading to remote Lajitas, Texas, chasing rumors that a large group of invaders would be crossing there. As I arrived at the border and almost certain death, I found a barbecue? More specifically, I found a party spanning both sides of the Rio Grande, with Mexicans and Americans crossing freely back and forth and, yes, kinda breaking the law.
This is an act of civil disobedience with a party.
It's the 7th annual Fiesta Protesta.
Fiesta Protesta.
Food, music, even an international crew of water bronies. It's one day a year that reunites a community and families split when the border was closed after 9/11 by the guy who used to be our worst president.
If you've never seen the togetherness, then you wouldn't notice the separation. We used to play softball against each other. We were integrated as a community.
See, for ages, this was an informal crossing point for, well, how to describe it?
It's a neighborhood with a river in the middle of it.
Yeah, that.
No había escuela en México, so cruzábamos todos los días para la escuela interlingua.
These sisters went to school here, and in turn, Americans cross constantly to shop at their family's store.
Háblame un poquito sobre esta comunidad.
I speak English.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh my God, thank God. It has been so long since high school. Let me see if I understand this correctly. Every day, you would invade this country, go to high school, and then you just return home.
Every single day.
Yeah, like a neighborhood. Then in 2002, the border was shut.
There was no business, no tourists, no nothing.
That little town dissolved because there was no work for those people. I know a guy that used to work in the kitchen at the Starlight Theater.
Yeah.
Now he's over in St. Carlos and he works at a lead mine and he makes about $20 a day.
He works in a lead mine.
Works in a lead mine.
A lead mine. On a list of the most desirable jobs, lead miner ranks way down, just above zombie fluffer. So if crossing here is now illegal, how does this party work? Here's an explanation from this friendly rabbi.
As long as we stay close to the banks of the river, the Border Patrol has been happy to stand back and watch that happen.
And they were definitely watching.
They're over there? Oh, yeah. Right there. Oh, geez, they're over there.
Yeah, they're
hey,
right
guys.
there.
And what did they see? Well, there was a wedding in the river. And then the rabbi did some sort of ceremony.
Jesus said, I have come to bless all people.
Ah, Mazel Tov. The event was joyful, but under Trump, its days may be numbered.
I came here because I've heard through the grapevine that this may possibly be the last one they do for political reasons. I'm not necessarily pro let everybody come over here, but I think that we have gone completely beyond the limits that are necessary for what's going on. These people just want to see their families. And it used to be a place where they could openly cross, visit with each other, you know, the elders that lived on the other side. Thanks, Frank.
Frank might not want us to talk about it, but there were rumors Border Patrol would be arresting people this year. So Hayslip had a meeting with them.
I said, if you want to arrest people, feel free to do it. But there's going to be a TV show that's here, and it's Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. And the Border Patrol guys go, oh, yeah, she's great, man.
I just want to understand this. The Border Patrol thinks that Samantha Bee, blonde-haired lady, late-night TV show, real funny.
Yeah, Samantha Bee.
If I was confused about the border before, I was even more confused now. There was only one choice. I had to get closer. And into the river I went to meet my fans.
Hi, I'm Mike Rubin from Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. Who the fuck did he say it? It doesn't matter. You don't know me.
You know, there's an informed, reasonable debate to be had about immigration and border control.
Are you peeing also, or is it just me?
This is not that. But I learned some things today. When we wall ourselves off, we lose something precious. That this guy isn't even Jewish. And just imagine how different our discussion of the border would be if Fox used our B-roll instead.
We spent the past 2 days embedded with the Border Patrol on the ground and in the air and on the water. And you're going to be shocked by some of what the Border Patrol showed us. And here's just a little of what we were able to see for ourselves.
This is a 1984 Russian Lada. It's tiny, ugly, and a relic of the Soviet era. It's the Vladimir Putin of obvious car metaphors. And it's the perfect vroom to chit-chat in with my other favorite Russian import, friend of the show and permanent resident of my panic bunker, Masha Gessen.
What's the deal with democracy?
The deal is it's very, very bad right now.
I'm Samantha Bee, and this is Comedians in Cars with Dissidents Getting Coffee.
Cheers. Okay, so I did everything that you said, Masha. I stayed the hysterical woman in the room. No one invites me to parties anymore. So what's next? Give us a full rundown of your Masha-sies. That's Masha prophecies. Ding.
Well, so I think he's going to keep pulling out of international institutions and treaties. It's just like there's no NATO and there's no Warsaw Pact. I mean, there's blanket detention, there's blanket deportation, the Denaturalization Task Force.
The what now?
The Denaturalization Task Force.
Okay.
Now, I want to say a couple things about the Denaturalization Task Force.
Please
because I think
say all the things about it.
It was a previous administration that laid the groundwork. In this particular case, it was the Obama administration. And now Trump has picked it up and run with it. They're specifically looking for people who have done nothing to draw attention to themselves. So they're living here as citizens. They haven't committed any crimes.
Okay.
There's nothing that makes them stand out.
They're poring over files to find tiny irregularities.
Right. Because maybe there's something in their past that will allow us to eject them from the country.
Oh, am I going to jail?
You're blonde.
I mean, I'm blonde now.
Stay blonde.
Okay, because I cannot get ejected and sent back to Ontario. I quit my job at Tim Hortons in such a fucked up way. Oh my God, I need a drink.
You can't drink and drive.
I haven't been driving this entire time. How do you think this works?
Didn't you notice we're shooting a completely separate show right now?
Hi. I'm Jason Alexander, and this is Actors in Trucks towing comedians with dissidents in cars getting coffee. This is a 2006 tow truck. It tows stuff all over the place. It's black with a pipe and a step, all the good stuff. See, Seinfeld topped that with a goddamn tow truck.
Okay, so how are you supposed to handle a person like Trump?
The problem is journalism isn't suited for talking about things that pretend to be real but aren't, but maybe are. And we have to have a different way of writing about it.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're supposed to tell us.
So I was on another network and the host was asking me about the separation of children. He said, is it an effective deterrent? And I said, you can't ask that question. He said, well, I understand I can't ask that question, but is it?
Okay.
And the thing is that Because they talk about things in insane ways, but they succeed in framing them in insane ways. We start parroting it. We actually have to even get out of the paradigm of talking about whether immigration is good for this country. We have to talk about whether we are good enough to help other people, right?
So my abolish ICE tattoo was a good call. Yeah, I just wish there was something we could do.
Did someone say karaoke?
No, no one did.
Public domain, carpool karaoke.
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of You're a grand old flag, you're a high flying flag, and
Do you think people will actually listen to us now? Is this exciting enough?
You're the emblem of the land I love.
Jesus Christ. How do you do self-care? What gets you through?
I'm incredibly fortunate. I'm a journalist, and I get to
I've never
write.
heard anyone say that before, that they're incredibly fortunate to be a journalist.
It gives me the illusion of doing something.
That's nice. My job is to turn my tears of grief into yelling on TV. Do you think that people will listen to our warnings now? Do we put enough lipstick on this pig?
I hope so.
I have the best idea.
Full frontal cash cab.
Highline, please.
Hi guys, you're in the full frontal cash cab.
What?
What did I do? What do we win?
The truth.
And a $20 Cheesecake Factory gift certificate. Let's get started. Do you realize how bad it's gotten?
No.
Do you know how to stop authoritarianism?
Stand up. Resist.
There's really no way.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna give you a topic and you tell me if you should be panicking hysterically right now. NATO.
No.
Wrong. The economy? The answer is yes. Democrats, definitely democracy, yes. Immigration, yes. Abortion rights.
Okay, if you give us the
Of
answers,
course.
can we still win?
Not really. Nobody wins.
Wow.
Well, we tried to make you care about the crumbling of democratic norms, and we think we did a pretty good job. Right, Jason?
And you have an Emmy nom?
Actually, we have 7 nominations.
Not to put a damper on your chances, but I had 7 of them too, and I don't have shit to show for it, so.